And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Hi there, I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska Aviation Weather Outlook on this Sunday, November 17th, 2024. And we have a few things we're going to be watching. There is a strong system with wind and moist, milder air working its way along the Kamchatka eastern Russian coastline with a low center coming across eastern Russia. We have a building ridge of high pressure that's going to creep upward across the eastern Aleutians into the Alaska Peninsula in south central Tuesday into Wednesday. Meanwhile, a cold Arctic high pressure will build southeastward and could reach 1050 millibars by Tuesday over the lower Yukon Territory. So when we start things out on Monday morning, there may be a pocket of IFR conditions here along the Alcan border, especially inside there, the Wrangell St. Elias Mountains area. Otherwise, VFR conditions here over the Panhandle, south central, much of the interior. Very cold temperatures, 20-30 below readings with some locally cold readings, 35 below. VFR conditions over the north slope spine of the Brooks Range, but a broad area of IFR conditions, western half of the Aleutians in response to that warmer, more moist air coming in to the Bering Sea. And there'll be areas of precipitation, particularly, at least initially, snow that'll break out and work its way through, especially the Bering Strait, west northern side of the Seward Peninsula, and up here along the northwest coast, extending up past Point Hope to about Point Lay. That'll come especially later Monday night and into Tuesday. So there are winter storm watches for this area. Sunday evening into Monday evening, there is a blizzard warning, ground blizzard conditions, maybe a little light snow, but strong gusty winds as high as 40-50 miles an hour will create blizzard conditions around Point Thompson to Kaktovik. And then we have a winter weather advisory here for the Alaska Range, especially those mid-upper level elevations as we go into from early Monday into early Tuesday. Now, by the time we get into Monday afternoon, much of the mainland, especially along the Gulf Coast, will see VFR conditions and in through the interior. But back to the west, we see a broad area of IFR conditions, and this front and warmer air wind with it coming in to the northern Bering and Chukchi Sea will not happen until Monday night, but it comes in quickly, so that by Tuesday morning we anticipate IFR conditions here, Chukchi Sea coastline, especially Point Lay down through Point Hope, the Seward Peninsula, St. Lawrence, back through St. Matthew. And within this area, there could be blizzard conditions develop, especially here, the western portion of the Brooks Range along areas of, say, around Cape Lisburne down through Kivalina and Shishmaref and the west side here of the Seward Peninsula. And then as we get into Tuesday afternoon and night, that moisture moves very quickly eastward over some very cold air. So there'll be a temperature inversion as a result of that push of moisture inland. But temperatures will be rising, probably a little above freezing around Savunga and even up there around Nome. Could even be a little mix of precipitation, especially around Norton Sound, south side of the Seward Peninsula for Tuesday afternoon. Meanwhile, drier conditions, VFR conditions, the Panhandle along the Gulf Coast into south central with that building ridge. That's really going to set up a strong temperature inversion. You get up above 4 to near 5,000 feet, we could see temperatures in the 40s if that indeed is that ridge there takes shape. But in the meantime, for Monday, Anaktuvik Pass starting out MVFR becoming VFR. Same thing, Adigan Pass, maybe a little MVFR conditions there in the morning, otherwise becoming VFR. As we drop down along the west arm of the Alaska Range, we expect VFR conditions. And same thing for Rainy Pass, generally VFR conditions as we round up through the central Alaska Range and head eastward. We will see some MVFR conditions and also the potential for some gusty winds and some light snow. And then we expect especially Isabel Pass eastward through Mentasta Pass, MVFR conditions with some wind and light snow, so that there is that winter weather advisory that'll be in effect Monday into early Tuesday morning there. Tanita Pass, VFR becoming MVFR as we drop down into the west side of the Copper River Basin. And same thing, Portage Pass, VFR conditions Monday morning giving way to MVFR conditions. And then in the far northern panhandle, Chilkoot and White and much of the panhandle will see VFR conditions on Monday. So the freezing levels at the surface have pushed down south of St. Matthew to St. Paul, St. George, down here through the Alaska Peninsula, south into the western Gulf, and then running along the outer portion of the western and southern panhandle, cut down toward Ketchikan. And then behind me, you can see the influence of this front. There's going to be a low work its way across eastern Russia in the interior of the Asian continent, but it's the frontal system that's going to be rapidly expanding northeastward with a fair amount of wind and just warm, moist air. And whenever that warm, moist air encounters the cold air that it's in place over here, that's going to produce accumulating snow as maybe 6 to as much as 12 inches of snow could fall around places like NOAA, on up through the Red Dog Mine. They are just to the east and northeast of Kotzebue. And again, there will be blizzard conditions in this area of the northwest as we go through Tuesday into early Wednesday. But here is that surge of higher freezing levels aloft, indicating an area of much warmer air pushing toward the western Aleutians on Monday morning. And as far as icing potential, lingering cloud cover, a little bit of precipitation could keep a little bit of moderate icing going along the northern, northeastern Gulf Coast, northern panhandle, but not expected to be a major issue. Here's the early hint, the lead edge of the snow in the snow-bearing clouds above 3,000 feet here as we get in towards St. Lawrence Island on Monday afternoon. Further west, above 6,000 feet here in the northern western Bering. And there's even higher freezing levels, as I indicated, up around 10,000 feet as you get out to the far western Aleutians. So all that milder air is heading northeastward. And look at this ridge. We have jet cores of 150 knots from the north coming down across the southwest interior, across the Alaska Peninsula, and out here into the eastern Asian continent. Jet core above 150 to 165 knots. And this ridge will continue to push eastward with a frontal system at the surface working its way northeastward. Here's the core of winds, 700 millibars, 9,000 feet. We find winds in excess of 90 to 100 knots along the Kamchatka and eastern Russian coastline. Here's the anticyclonic or high pressure ridge center there just north of the central and western Aleutians. Northerly flow across the Alaska Peninsula, southwest mainland into south central, generally 35 to near 50 knots in some pockets. And then fourth, Monday at 3,000 feet, there's a broad belt of winds from the southwest pushing up into the western Bering, anywhere from 50 to as high as 75 knots. And the lead of that, as that works its way, this is what's going to produce the stronger winds Monday night into Tuesday as it slams into the Seward Peninsula and this area of the northwest. That's what's going to drive the blowing snow. And certainly there is the potential for turbulence with that. Not yet during the day Monday, but as that rapidly comes in, I would expect there to be turbulence develop in this region for Monday night and certainly into Tuesday. But before then, with these strong northerly winds across the southwest and Alaska Peninsula, we find the potential for moderate turbulence in the Alaska Range surface, 10,000 feet, a broad area over the southwest, including the Alaska Peninsula, Cook Inlet down through Kodiak Island, surface to 6,000 feet as we go west, surface to 4,000 feet as we get back toward Nunavik Island and St. Matthew. And then out in the far western Aleutians, there could also be some moderate turbulence there at Shemya, Attu, surface to 3,000 feet on Monday.